All right, one person here. What's going on? One person. Let me turn off my water sounds. I just wanted to come on and say hello. I'm about to go on a big kind of sort of road trip, but I guess I wanted to talk about Graham Platner today because Graham Platner is like a very familiar kind of character to me. Um, this edge lord kind of guy who loves violence and basically has a Nazi tattoo or did, and then covered it up with a Norse wolf, which is in my mind the same kind of thing. Oh, hello, Drew. Cool. Thank you. It's just you and me. It's exclusive for you today. So I just want to say that Graham Platner. This is the New York Times thing that they wrote up on him about the woman who, unfortunately, I guess was some kind of Republican operative. So a lot of people are calling her story fake. But all right, we'll just let's throw up an image of let's do this. But so if you don't know who this is by now, what they're trying to do is sanitize this man's image. And this is the playbook of, the Democratic Socialists of America. They find people like this guy or Mamdani who have little to no experience really doing almost anything without their parents' help and pushing them forward as, political operatives that are slowly destroying the Democratic Party from the inside out. And I guess what's very funny about it to me is that the Democrats spent the last, 8 years calling everybody who disagreed with them Nazis, and then they and then they elect one. And then, there's this whole debate. He has claimed he has no idea. Like, excuse me, sir, as a millennial who knows men like this, who has known men like this, drunk, privileged. This guy's an alcoholic, like, I'm convinced. Like, look at his face. He's an alcoholic. Um, into violence, into grape. And that's a problem with the Democrats is they don't want to acknowledge misogyny when it's there. Okay. And they've had now a very long running campaign saying trans women are women, right? Like there's no difference between a biological woman and a man that is confused in a dress. And so they've had this issue with sexism and misogyny within their party for a very, very long time. And they refuse to acknowledge it. And I don't think they're ever going to acknowledge it because that's not how they operate. So here's Graham Platner, a character of, I'm very familiar with this kind of guy, you know, this sort of lying domestic abuser who I guess he was on Kick and he was talking to women on there, forced his wife to go on an apology tour. The video where she's making that apology it's so sad to me. It seems so coerced. Like, here's this scumbag who was texting women while his wife was going through IVF. Like, I think the Democrats, it's very clear to me that they have no morality and no value system whatsoever other than to win. And so it's heavily ironic that they would spend the last decade, let's say, calling everyone they disagree with Nazis, which I'm sorry, the Nazis don't exist anymore. It's a vibe now more than anything. And he gives off the vibe. Okay. A woman hating, alcoholic liar who claims I have no idea. I didn't know. I was in Croatia, which Croatia's like a capital of like weird leftover neo Nazi stuff. Like, please do not. And he said he was punk. Okay. So if you're not familiar with the tattoo that he had, It was the Totenkopf, which he called, according to this New York Times reporting, his Totenkopf. I'm an edgelord leftist, you know? And even on his Kick profile, he does like a really bad job of like photoshopping it. And I wish that Google seems to be burying this stuff, you know? And then the left says that the right is the one doing all this censorship. But here's his tattoo that he had. Okay. And as somebody who's obsessed with Nazis myself, I am. Yes. I don't know why. It's probably all those terrible World War II documentaries that my dad made me watch. My dad made me watch a lot of those and a lot of Westerns. And that's how I was raised. But the longer I do this, the longer I see who the enemies are of the United States and our liberty and our freedom, which is not free. I'm sorry. It's just not. And I think 20 years ago, a version of me who met myself today might not recognize me because I like grew up. And the more you think about geopolitics and the more you think about strategy, I think the less you can be like an edgy leftist or libertarian. Like, we're not a hermit kingdom, okay? We are the leader of the free world. I don't know. I don't care. All this conspiracy stuff, I can't do it because it just comes across to me as like very America hating stuff. And when you hate yourself, right, it's the same thing that they did to white people. Like, when you hate yourself, you're more vulnerable to being manipulated because you hate yourself. So you're not going to stick up for yourself. But yeah, so he's claimed he had no idea. Oh, I had no idea what a Totenkopf was. No clue. Even though he's claimed that he was a World War II buff and into punk music. So, like, if you're into punk music at all or whatever, you might recognize the Totenkopf as a Death in June symbol. And Death in June, if you don't know who they are, I believe, I don't know how to classify. I never listened to them. I never enjoyed this kind of music. But we'll go to their Wikipedia page. I just have a really hard time believing that this man had no idea. Right? So we have, and then he gets the Norse wolf over it. Like, give me a fucking break. Give me a break, guys. Like, I know this guy. All right. So yeah, I guess they were like a neo folk, but like they came out of the punk scene. Like, I have a really hard time. Graham Platner, who is claimed to be punks or whatever, had no idea what this symbol was. I have no idea. I don't know. And his dumb, gruff McGruff, scruff McGruff voice. I don't, like his scratchy, stupid voice. So I think the man's a liar. Whether or not he's a Nazi, I don't think that's even like, that's, to me, that's not here or there. Like, there are two things that are possible here, but I think he's a liar and he's lying about knowing what it was. I think he knew full well what it was, which is why he edited it out of his Kick profile. Like, no woman is gonna like date him with such a visibly stupid tattoo. So let me just go. We're just chilling today, talking some smack about Graham Platner. Because I've been meaning to, because it's like one of these things where it's like, I know who this man is without even knowing him. I can see an edgelord, I can spot people who have been terminally online as someone myself, right? I see you, sir. So then there's this ad that he runs about the Epstein class, and I'm sorry, like, I am gonna lose my shit if I hear leftists talk about Epstein at all anymore. You guys did not care In fact, I lost a lot of people for even talking about this stuff 7 years ago, 6 years ago. Like, so give me a break that you care now. Like, you don't. The Democrats don't care. And that's why I'm so fascinated with the Platner thing, because they spent almost a decade calling all of us Nazis, and then they elected one, right? Because it is a horseshoe and they meet at the middle being Jew hate. It's very simple. And I think they're enemies of our country. Total scumbag. Democrats are gone. Fetterman's a Pennsylvanian. Yeah, like, I don't know. There's something, I really didn't like him at first, but he's grown on me. Yes, he 100% knew. Don't tell me you got a tattoo in Croatia, home of some very nasty, like, neo-Nazi stuff. Like, come on. Are you effing kidding me right now? Does he think everyone's an idiot? And that's how disgusting the Democrats are. So I just also, like, the left talking about Epstein. If I hear one more thing about a list, if I hear one more thing about the Epstein class, who the fuck made that up? Who made the Epstein class up? I need to know the origins of this phrase, which is actually something I'm pretty good at. Maybe I'll do like a Google Trend search and figure it out. Who originated this dumb Epstein class phrase? Do you know who the Epstein class, like, and none of these people even know what they're talking about. They've never even read any of the emails. I spent hours reading those dumb emails. Do you know how much he emailed Deepak fucking Chopra? Okay. The Epstein class is academics at MIT. All right, but here's Graham Platner, because what you also have to understand about Graham Platner is that he's a DSA plant. He's a Democratic Socialist of America plant, and they all have the same playbook. So this is an ad he ran.
Powerful Democrats and Republicans in the country were on Epstein Island. It seems the only thing the party.
No, actually. Let's do it again. I hate his voice. I hate everything about him.
Powerful Democrats and Republicans in the country were on Epstein Island. It seems the only thing the party establishments can agree on is a love of Jeffrey Epstein and a hatred of me. I'm Graham Platner, and I approve this message because together we will take back our government from the Epstein.
What does that mean? What is these like empty phrases mean? It's stupid, it's reductive, and I'm over it. Listen, I don't care anymore. I'm not here to win any kind of popularity contest, clearly, okay? I've cultivated a very small, but I think very intelligent audience who understands where I'm coming from. Hey, Terry, what's going on? Thank you for joining us today. Who understands where I'm coming from and, like, what I'm about. And I appreciate all of you for being here. And you don't know what it means to me. But I've lost people because I am true to me. I'm not true to whatever. I don't have audience capture. I started off my YouTube journey talking about transgenderism. And then when COVID hit, I started talking about that. I lost a lot of those women when I started talking about medical tyranny. And exactly. And I lost a lot of those people. So I've been losing audience members, and I think I've finally just hit my core group of people that appreciate what I have to say, and I appreciate you. So we're talking about Graham Platner today. I think he's a pathological liar. I did read this this New York Times piece. I swore I read it for free like a few days ago, and now when I go to the bookmark I have of this guy, it's gone. Of course, a lot of the Democratic operatives have been saying that this woman, who the story is mainly about, is lying. But we have a lot of ex-girlfriends coming forward about him and his behavior towards women. And apparently he has that small d energy. So hold on, I think I have that in my bookmarks. Let me just search for him. Let me see. I can't and it's really funny because the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, are really tearing the Democratic Party apart, right? I think centrists should unite. All right, so here's a clip.
This anti-Semitic reprobate should never have been allowed to run. Any decent, credible party would have said, no. Any decent, credible party would have said, no, it's not your time. We're going to get something else. This.
Good for him for not letting her interrupt. Sometimes I watch these clips and I wonder what this lady's deal is. Like, believe all women except Jewish women are ex-girlfriends of this douche, apparently. So let me open up. Let me see if I can find his ex on the internet, like talking some crap. But also this woman, okay, so a lot of the Democratic operatives are upset because this woman, I guess she worked for the Heritage Foundation at some point, blah, 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 Brett Kavanaugh. I don't know. I don't care. And she's a Republican. So she automatically is discredited for her politics, which is like kind of disgusting. Like, right? Believe all women unless they're this woman. But she's not the only one that has spoken about this. Let me see if I can open up the woman who I was interacting with like yesterday. Apparently he never returned her pie tin. But it has small d energy. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. And then maybe we'll read an old piece about Assange, because I guess I'm kind of into the enemies of the state today, which I see Platner as one. I see any Democratic Socialist of America operative as a traitor to the United States. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So this woman claims that she was seeing Kim at some point and never returned her pie pan. It says, is Graham Platner the dude from Maine? And she says, yeah, LMAO. Yep, seeing his stuff on social media. You were right. He's kind of hot. Is he? Looks disgusting, like an alcoholic to me. Too bad he was a douche. She says, yeah, dude, small dick, makes weird noises. Nazi tattoo, was effing around on his fiance. Good riddance. All fixable except cheater, I guess. I don't think any of that's fixable. And she says, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of that isn't fixable. Right? No effing way. Yes, effing way. He's got a decent platform. Better not take a peek at the Nazi tattoo on his chest. Hard knowing what we know, though. Girl, I forgot about that tattoo. I called Graham last night because no one I know has jumper cables and the boys are out of town. I ran my battery out listening to music and smoking in my car. Before people reached out to me at like 7:30 in the morning, like, look who it is, Mr. Oyster Man. It's crazy because I know he has a very unfortunate tattoo and he never gave me back my pie dish. So I'm considering selling him out. And I asked her, I was like, did you ever get your pie dish back? She says no. And I said, burn his ass. Graham Cracker Platner. Graham Fatner. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If anything, my journey through the last several years of conspiracy dreck, all sorts of shit, has led me to believe that many of these people speak the way that they do because they either knowingly want to bring divisive energy to the United States, or they're just sort of doing it because it's like in the zeitgeist. And if it's in the zeitgeist to you know, hate Israel or hate Jews or whatever, they're going to do it to like get clicks. So yeah, I just find it really hard to believe that Graham Platner had no idea what this symbol was, in a country like Croatia, of all places. Like, it's really, really, really unbelievable. I know, right? The pie dish. I'm like, burn his ass just for that. Pie dish stealing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I know. I want him want him to go down. He is lying. He's lying his face off. And that's the concerning part, really. Like just this unbelievable lie. I would have more respect for you, sir. Well, I'd have more respect if you ever like had to work hard a day in your life. And then there are all the Reddit things that he said about grape and how women deserve it, and how he wanted to go to the Middle East to kill. Like, the man loves violence, He's into it. I think he gets his tiny D hard. Like, so yeah, I wanted to like talk about him today just because it's been like a story on my mind. Do I have any more like clips I want to share? Here's a guy highlighting the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, right? And I guess the reason this story is interesting to me is, once more, I find the Democrats to be incredible hypocrites who called their opponents Nazis for almost a decade, and then they elected one. Like, that's so hilarious. He got all the Nazi tats. And even if you buy he didn't know at the time, he had 18 years. He knew. No, I've never been to Maine. I don't intend. It seems like a really annoying part of the country, to be honest, full of very, very stupid people, which he also called his own base. Like, he's so insulting to his own base. Like, I wouldn't care what kind of tattoos he had if he was just like a plumber or a mechanic. But the Democrats are so thirsty for that Senate seat that they will put such a man forth. Like, it's pathetic. A quick side-by-side of things legacy media outlets will describe as Nazi adjacent when they're about Trump, versus how these outlets talk about Platner's Nazi tattoo, which an ex has confirmed was deliberate. He called it "my Totenkopf," according to this reporting by the New York Times here. And the woman who they profiled was a Republican operative, so everyone's trying to throw shade at her. But I think she's telling us the truth. I don't, I think it's embarrassing to even admit that you would have had a relationship with this guy. But I guess this woman used to work for the Heritage Foundation and was like a Brett Kavanaugh supporter or something. I don't know. I don't care. I think anyone with two eyes can see this shit for what it is, like from a mile away. Oswald says he thinks it's the Oregon of the East Coast, in that the mainstream Democrats probably are crypto Nazis. Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? I've never been there. I have no interest. I lived in Maine for 2 years. Part of it was hippies. I mean, I hate hippies too. Equal opportunity disliker of people. Portland. That was 20 years ago, though. It might have changed. Well, what I've heard about Maine is that a lot of East Coast people, like from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, are moving up there because they see it as this like progressive mecca, I suppose. But what they really don't want to say is that they don't want to live. They're racist, and they don't want to live in the brown places anymore. Yeah, I mean, hippies are obnoxious, like, in my opinion. Maine seems too cold for me. Maybe, I don't know. Just, it seems full of people like Graham Platner, who, once again, these DSA operatives never have had real jobs. They his money that he has from his oyster farming business is like, seems like kind of a money laundering operation for his mother who has a restaurant. His grandfather was a famous architect. They're all the same. Every Democratic Socialist of America is a weird, privileged Nepo baby, which is a term I've also grown to hate. But like, hey, all right, Epstein class, Nepo baby, all this stuff. Like, I hate it, but here we are. So this guy is comparing, how they called Trump supporters Nazis versus Graham, I have a Totenkopf tattoo. Not. Right. What else do I have here? This is just Jerry Seinfeld sticking it to the people who hold on. Let's type in Platner one more time. Two women who previously dated. This is 5 minutes. Oh, I love the hate that Barry Weiss is getting. That's like, I don't love it. I just mean, like, I think it's funny. Like, these people show us who they are constantly. And unless you're blind, it's really not hard to see that they think you're stupid and they think that you're going to accept their lies of this man who, I don't know who this is. All right, we have Susan Collins here. All right, let's check this out because it's Graham Platner Day today.
Asked this question by Chris Hayes about the issue of, is there more out there? What else could be out there that might be revealed?
He didn't return a pie tin, or Pam.
During the campaign, and you deflected, said among other things, this is between you and your wife. It was understandable to a limit because for Maine voters in a general election, the question is, what is out there? What is not in your possession that you sent to others?
No way, Terry. You're tuned into Dystopian Deep Dives. There's no way that you're stupid.
Who may have in their possession. How many concerning pictures and or text messages are in the possession of other people that could be used against you? And I'd like to know if there are.
Is she drunk?
Pictures, concerning pictures.
Is everyone in power just drunk all the time?
I will just say that the nature of Amy and I's relationship has been blown, I would say, totally out of proportion. Early in our marriage, we had some struggles.
In which I had a Kik account that I messaged people with. I'm Scruff McGruff, the crime dog.
And we worked through them because that's what you do.
You humiliated your wife. I don't even want to watch that video. It's so sad. Where she comes out and she's like, yes, we had some issues in our marriage, but we're strong, like stronger than ever. And it was so humiliating because the man hates women.
When you're in love with somebody,
which unfortunately the Democrats do not care about, and they've shown us that they do not care about when they adopted the trans nonsense, and they're never ever going to walk it back. Yeah, doesn't he? They're never going to admit that they're wrong.
And it made our marriage much stronger, made us frankly a much happier and communicative couple.
He locked a woman in a room. He locked that Republican lady in a room. I read that New York Times piece.
I was single for the majority of my adult life.
You were a man whore for the majority of your adult life, which is in line with your weird violence-seeking behavior.
I was in my 20s and 30s and I dated. And, that's it.
As a millennial, I know this person quite well.
In the modern age, that's what happens. You date people and you use dating apps and you do all this stuff. And frankly, that all happened long before I got married and happened long before I decided to run for the United States.
And it continued into your marriage, sir.
7. I can just tell you, there is nothing out there that that is going.
There's nothing out there that's going to dissuade the voters because they already have shown the rest of us that they don't care about it, which is disturbing to me.
Going to be will run counter to any of the stories that I've talked about openly this entire campaign. And I know everyone continues to be like, oh, what else is coming? Ironically,
right.
The whole what else is coming has essentially been the same thing the whole time.
Right, you're a scumbag.
Which is, I've been very open about the fact that I struggled, very open about the fact that I had a
struggle with your tiny peen, struggle to give pie plates back.
Long litany of failed relationships for years because I myself was not in a good place.
Because you're an alcoholic and you still drink.
And then every now and again, we will have a media outlet or a politically motivated attack come up and try to drag.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. This is politically motivated. But how sickening must it be for any of these women to see him like this as a public figure and to prove once more that the Democrats do not give a shit about women. Like, it's kind of wild stuff. Yes, it does look like she was forced to do that, and it's so sad, honestly. Right. Yeah, they just mean they're stupping. That's what they mean. Single men, yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's disgusting. Compensation for what? Who's voting Democrat anymore? You can hate Trump for his shortcomings, but at least he's not a Jew-hating, America-hating scumbag. Couldn't have said it better myself, Susie.
Drag it all up, but it's all very much within the exact same story that I've told this entire time.
Okay, so you say there's nothing
pathological liar
out there that could be concerning. And this may seem a little bit rich.
There's nothing out there. I just want to make this clear. There's nothing out there that's actually concerning. People will make everything seem very concerning because that's
right. Because the Democrats don't care about depravity or misogyny.
What people do in politics. But I think the thing about all of this is what I find to be kind of most curious is this is what everyone wants to make the campaign about. So we do not talk about the struggles of working Mainers. We do not talk about the fact that I know someone in my hometown here who works 3 jobs and pays over 60% of her monthly income in rent.
Something you would know nothing about because you've been supported by your parents. You went to a rich elite prep school, which is like the playbook for the Democratic Socialists of America, because you can only really be a socialist if you've never experienced working class poverty. I'm convinced of this. Compensation in this context only means one thing. You already mentioned it, small d. It's give them that small d energy.
I think that matters a lot more.
Don't steal women's pie pans, guy.
More than the details of my relationship.
No, because what it is paints a picture of your character.
Before I ran for United States Senate. That's just me.
Okay, so then let me ask you this way. Can you just talk about the nature of the sexting in terms of can you call for the release of the Epstein files? And can you call...
What is this? Oh my God, I'm so sick of the Epstein shit, especially since I covered it for years. I've done my own research. There is no list. There's a bunch of emails between Jeffrey Epstein, MIT scientists, other academics who are super into transgenderism, and Deepak Chopra.
All out those who have abused women and not be conflicted in any way.
What is he going to say?
Yes, of course. I mean,
right, because in his mind, he's never actually abused women. Locking them in a room, giving them bruises, not abuse. It's totally reasonable behavior.
And
consensual romantic activities with adults at an earlier part in my life.
I consensually locked her in a room.
That seems like a fairly normal thing most people do. Going to an island with billionaires to possibly assault children is a vastly, vastly different thing.
But you did lie about your Nazi tattoo, okay? And then you got it covered up with a Norse wolf, which is the same code to me. Just spending enough time in online spaces. Like, I know what that Norse wolf is like code for. Like, come on, guy. Come on, my guy. You small DPOS. Mun's talking about tattoo. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right? Do you think people are getting sick of this hypocrisy? What do you guys think? Did I see Chomsky's close friend? No, I don't. If you want to, I don't know if you can send a link or like give me the keywords to search for because we're on a chill stream. I would look it up. But it's become very clear to me, like I'm on the side of America. I'm American, obviously, and I think anyone who comes out as anti-America, anyone who wants to destroy us, is an enemy for me. It's very clear. It's become very clear to me who's working for Russia, etc. And I think this is just indicative of the Democrats and what they've become. And they still cannot admit to themselves why Trump won. And they think that running this guy, they're like, oh, look, he's like a white dude. We need to get white dudes back, right? Well, you can't spend an entire decade telling white people that they're racist inherently and expect nothing to happen as a result. Okay? You can't tell people, you can't lie to people's faces about transgenderism and then expect a different result. Like they cannot face themselves. They cannot face their own lies. And that's the issue. And they will never, ever admit it. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Right? So let's actually have like an old story that I posted. About him hosting. It's not this. He was hosting like Antifa, like gun training. Let me see if I can find it. Gun training. And how is everybody today out there in internet land? In internet land. All right. I think I have to go to my own channel and look at my posts and find that old post that I made like forever ago about him. And let's just open this in a new tab. Wait, hold on. We'll just, while I'm looking for what I'm trying to find, we'll just look at this for a second. Graham Fatner. Okay. Where is the post about him and doing the Antifa gun training? Just give me a second here. Looks like it's taking forever to load up. Where is it? It's got to be somewhere around here. So what do you guys think? Do you think he's lying about his tattoo? Platner. Gosh darn it. Why can't I find it? Just give me a moment here. Intermission. So I think it's really like the lies and the hypocrisy that bother me about really like anyone, any party. Um, and these people just like refuse to admit when they're wrong, and they don't understand why Trump won. And it's because they lied to people and they're still doing it. And I just don't think that's a sustainable thing. I think the party's collapsing in on itself. Hold on a second. That's quite an old post, so I'm just really sick of also people who don't seem familiar with the Epstein stuff at all, like talking about Epstein. Like the left is all of a sudden really fascinated with it. And it's like, give me a break. I lost people just for talking about it. I had a lot of kind of leftist. Maybe I also lost them because I'm not. I've come out fully as a centrist at this point. Like I can't take the anti-America stuff. I can't deal with all this America hate bullshit. Here it is. Got it. I'm glad that I saved this. So Bernie back candidate gives firearms training to Antifa. So this is an old article that I posted like a year ago, I guess. And to me, it just illustrates that this man is in love with violence. Okay. And that the far left and the far right really aren't that different from each other, in my opinion. I think I wrote this the other day, extreme nihilism on either side leads to violence. Okay, so Sullivan aquaculturist Graham Platner, the ex-Marine running against Governor Janet Mills for Democratic U.S. Senate nomination, instructed members of the Socialist Rifle Association on paramilitary tactics, according to newly uncovered social media posts. So this is from October of last year. And I did post this because it really illustrates the whole thing to me. The Progressive Star revealed in an August 8th, 2020 post that he'd provided advanced firearms instruction to the far left group, including a defensive handgun course he put on in June of 2020, shortly after the Black Lives Matter riots erupted across the country. Okay? And these people aren't so different from the Nazis that they say they hate. Both are authoritarian in nature. See, this is amazing how people want to act like their sexual misbehavior is better than that of people in higher tax brackets. Until you do something about the pervert next door, stop whining about the rich people. Exactly. Interesting. So true. I always said if they're willing to lie about the trans stuff, there is no lie they won't go along with. Exactly. That's why I thought it was such a big existential issue. And no one would listen to me, in my real life. I said, don't you understand? This is really an existential crisis because the way that we've set our society up is through law and order. And once you can no longer define something clearly, you cannot protect it under the law, which is what they did with the word woman. He kind of looks like an FTM. Oh my God. Oh, Lord. Buck Angel vibes. Oh my goodness. Second day of Midwest mini monsoons. You're home and restless. Well, I'm doing a stream before I go on a big trip. Do you want me to visit you out there in the Midwest? I'm taking a big Amtrak journey. Oh, I could show you guys my camera. I got a cheaper version of the Olympus, but I'm pretty happy. I got 3 rolls of Kodak Gold 200, my camera. I'm just going to bring that in a suitcase. It's going to be fun. Do a puzzle. Right? It really is. It really is. And so anyone who anyone who has supported that, and as you can see, it's very clear, is not to be trusted. Okay, so in response to a comment about tactical gear, Platner posted the following under his handle, and it wasn't just P Hustle, it was P Hustle like 0331. My numerology freaks out there, I'm sure that's ringing some alarm bells. Referring to his training sessions with the socialist gun enthusiasts. I can't do a scruff McGruff crime dog voice like he has, but he says, all we do is lots of range days, firearms education classes, and developing mutual aid networks in our community. What does that mean? What does this mean? Feels like it's language for something else. Just put on a defensive handgun course 2 weeks ago, and we do monthly introduction to firearms courses for new members, as well as more advanced classes for experienced members. Helps we have significant amount of combat veterans and firearms instructors who have put together a solid curriculum to build proficiency amongst our membership. Platner made dozens of posts under the Socialist Rifle Association subreddit, right? As Oswald pointed out, the Nazis were also socialists, right? And really the only difference is the level of state ownership of the corporations. Anyway, if we're familiar with classic terms here on this channel, which I think you all are. So he made dozens of posts on our /socialist RA. So he wrote, NRA is in trouble, F them. In a separate post, Platner appeared to recruit for the organization, right? Encouraging a Reddit user who'd moved to Maine to check the group out. We're quite active, he said. One picture posted on X shows a firearms training session and includes a blurred picture of a man who matches Platner, including like the gingery hair and the beard over here. Look at his hands. Ugh. All right. The Socialist Rifle Association first came to national attention following the assassination of Charlie Kirk and indications that his assassin, Tyler Robinson, may have connections to the far-left militant group. I definitely buy that. I think all the crazy people out there trying to blame Israel are just that. They're crazy. Click horse. The paramilitary group claims to have more than 10,000 members and has faced scrutiny in the national media over ties to armed confrontations with law enforcement, right? So this guy is a divisive person that thinks the United States is evil and wants to destroy it from the inside out. That's my assessment here. In Maine, the group has never been linked to any violence or criminal conduct, though a recently enacted state law does prohibit unauthorized paramilitary training. Under the 2023 statute, Platner could be found guilty of a Class D crime if the firearms instruction he provided had the goal of causing civil disorder or injuring another person. Interesting kind of gray legal area here. Images posted to social media by the main chapter of the Socialist Rifle Association that Platner instructed in firearms training indicate the group has held multiple training sessions in Maine and boasts at least 20 members, right? And so I think when we use the word Nazi, it's really a disservice. They don't exist anymore, quite clearly, okay? They're very specific to a time and place. But I think we can suss out authoritarianism. And I think this movement is and has proven to be very authoritarian in nature, wanting to compel speech, right? Wanting us to deny reality with our own eyes. Like, these people are the fascists at this point. Some guns they had. Whatever the F that is. Oh my God. That's definitely a dude. Look at the feet on that thing. I'm glad I saved this because it's, I've been wanting to talk about him for a long time. he greatly disturbs me. And the Democrats lying and saving face for him disturb me also. And if I ever hunt down whoever made up this Epstein class term, I mean, I don't know. I probably would do nothing, but I'd like to know who started it, because a lot of leftists left me when I started talking about that stuff. So fuck them. On Monday, Platner sent, so again, this is October of last year, sent shockwaves through the political media by revealing on Pod Save America, and these guys are also an enemy, I think. It should say Pod Kill America, that he has one of the most famous Nazi symbols tattooed on his chest and has, for some reason, not had it removed in the 17 or 18 years since and he got it covered with a Norse wolf, since he drunkenly stumbled into a tattoo parlor. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. Okay, so that was from the Vermont Daily Chronicle. Either one, whatever you want to go with, you're disturbed. All right, so I guess it's gonna like wrap it up for me on the Platner thing. I don't know. Do I have any other bookmarks I could share? This is a good one. I like this lady.
I don't believe in misogyny or power over women. And although he has said all of those things were in the past, I don't know if a person can change that
right
much.
For real. For real. You can never change your SD, your small d energy. Such a shame, really. How tall is he? Well, we're just being petty. Height. How tall is he? And I'm just so familiar with this type of millennial edgelord male. September 1st. Was he like a Virgo? You know, we like to do that on this channel. We just like to have some fun here. Nobody's off limits. I can't get his height. Why isn't Google telling me his height? According to this, he's 5'10". I don't know if I believe it. I don't know. All right, let's go back to this bookmarks page. It is trashy behavior. Totally agree with this poster. I did enjoy the Platner versus Fetterman thing. Yeah, he called the Maine voters stupid on old Reddit posts.
When hurtful things I said on the internet a decade ago came out into the public, as I shared my personal journey through PTSD and darkness, of recovery and accountability and growth, Maine had my back.
Let's put the audio on this clip. It's really bad. Look at his drunk face. Oh my God. Once again, Democrats proving they have no morals or standards. Terry's or mine. I think we have kind of similar ideas, but I don't know. And we're open to a diversity of opinion here. I just can't stand hypocrites or liars, which I think this man is the epitome of. Perhaps all those years of calling people Nazis for believing in biology and reality has made the Dems immune when an actual Nazi enters their midst. I just don't think they actually care about anything. It's all performative. He's about the same height as Bernie Sanders, also a woman hater. Someday I'll read you guys his old piece that was supposed to be satirical, full of just dripping with misogyny. Bernie Sanders. It's from like the 70s. I've hated Bernie Sanders for a long time too.
Now, as every single piece of that past and journey gets dug up, litigated, and weaponized, you have my back.
Ugh. Which makes me think what Oswald said earlier about Maine being like a bunch of crypto Nazis. Like, kind of makes sense. Oh, who did I mute? I don't know. I'm just a troll on Twitter. I like to troll people. Yeah, drunken. Other elements of his past have so far attracted little attention, like a conviction for drunk driving. Okay, like he's so unlikable. In 2011, his license was suspended for a year. Like, drunk drivers piss me off. Other than driving to work and court mandated appearances, according to court records, like you could have killed somebody. In the interview, Mr. Platner said he had been driving home from dinner in Northern Virginia with his girlfriend and was hit by a drunk driver. After he called the police, he said he was also given a breathalyzer test, which he failed. The story illustrates what a liar he is. Got arrested, got a DUI, got my license back, and moved on with my life. I'm changed. I'm a changed man. P Hustle 0331. And if you look closely, I have a better image of this somewhere, but he photoshopped his own tattoo, which indicates that he knew it was not something that women would want to hook up with him on the basis of, And so this woman who's in that New York Times story, who's a Republican operative, is getting all sorts of crap, and she says the New York Times kind of set her up. She says that she was promised that other women would be profiled, but she became sort of the centerpiece of it. And that's her talking about that. I don't know. We watched this clip the other day. I've had these things on deck for a while. I don't know. This is funny. Can't wait for Matt Damon to play Graham Platner in a future coming-of-age Netflix film about a spoiled rich kid who acts out as a teenager and is shipped off to an $80K a year boarding school only to get expelled after one semester for SAing a student. Then he joins the Marines as a FU to his parents, and while enlisted, he frequently posts on Reddit about how soldiers should bang hookers in Thailand, and gets wasted in Croatia and gets a Nazi tattoo before deciding to move back to DC and bartend at Tune Inn, where he meets a Blackwater executive who hires him. Yeah, he was a mercenary also. Like, he's a man who loves violence, who hires him to work security in Afghanistan, which he does for a year before moving back home to Maine to sell oysters to his mom. Run for U.S. Senate. Give it an Oscar already. This is like a real great. I love that one. That's funny. PTSD, past tattoo suddenly just. Oh my goodness, I love you guys. You're so funny. Yes, it gets worse and worse. Tired of people giving a pass to men living like that, because it indicates impulsive behavior. It indicates a lot of poor judgment. And like I said, if this guy was just a plumber or a mechanic, or I guess just an oyster farmer, which his parents set him up with, I don't think I'd care. But he's running for office, and it really highlights the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. This is also funny. Apparently, this was also revealed because he was dancing in his underwear, which was his wedding gift to his brother and wife. Unheard levels of narcissism. Just get a gift off the registry. I think we've almost exhausted this topic. Graham Platner sexted multiple women while married. His wife told on him, has a Nazi tattoo, lied about it when caught, taught firearm training to the Socialist Rifle Association and recruited for them, called rural white people stupid and racist, said cops are bastards, called the Virgin Mary a skank. I don't even know that story, but I'd believe anything at this point. Labeled all Black people as sheep who don't tip. Masturbates in porta potties, admits he's a communist. wants an armed working class, scary, to overthrow the ruling class, right? These revolutionary, violent, he just loves violence. I think that's his thing. I think it gets his tiny d hard, aka violent Marxist revolution. Yeah, here's a better image of it, right? So you can tell the badly sort of photoshopped. Oh no, it's not even photoshopped. It's a reverse image. His hand, his meaty hand, is covering the Nazi tattoo because most women would not go for that. Like, ew. Um, Also, he has an alky body. What else is going on with you guys? I don't know who that is. He was just sowing his wild oats. Actually, Damon is probably an FTM too. Hey, this is not a transvestigation channel, okay? They're everywhere. The concept of religious forgiveness, I think, was made for men after their destructive youth. Interesting. Because that's who they are. And they've shown people who they are over and over again. I know, right? Where is this? All right, where am I? Which tab do I have open? So this isn't, I was wrong. This is not Photoshop. This is just a reversed image. His Totenkopf is under his beefy hand here. Ben Shapiro, right? He mocked a Purple Heart recipient. He's just a bad, bad dude. I guess we'll play this, even though I think these AI videos, no, we're not going to play this. I think these AI videos, these political campaign videos, should be regulated. That's kind of a disturbing development. I guess it may have started with the Spencer Pratt campaign, but I really don't. I don't like it. I just don't like it. P hustle. When you search Graham Platner's past Reddit handle and guns, there's a post from Christmas Eve 2012, 10 days after Sandy Hook, claiming that people who support gun safety are simple-minded. That's a controversial topic. I mean, I think the man is a liar, and I think this woman's right. This person cannot stop posting about it. But she has a lot of interesting information, even if she is a Democrat. And what's happening to the Democrats is they're being eaten from the inside out by the Democratic Socialists of America. And I don't know, I think they are at a point of no return, to be very honest with you guys. Oh, Lord. So, I think that's going to wrap it up on the Platner stuff. I think on a different day, I would like to share with you, hold on, let me see if I have it open. I'd like to share with you someday. I've posted this before, but this is one of my favorite articles about Julian Assange, who I also think is an enemy of the United States. I think that of Edward Snowden too. So if you have a problem with that, sayonara. But if you've never read this, I think I'll save it for another day. It's quite long, but it's a good one about Julian Assange. All right, guys. I just have a bad feeling that Platner's going to win. I don't know. I have a bet on Kalshi. Yeah, Julian Assange disgusts me in a lot of ways. But I think that's going to do it for me. I don't even know when I'll be back. Like, I'm about to catch a train. Exactly. You got it, my friend. Ding, ding, ding. You get it. Which is why I love you guys. And it's really nice that I have such a small but understanding and I think very intelligent audience. So if you've not heard of this and you want to read about Julian Assange being a scummy dude, I highly recommend this article. Okay, Terry, I'll hit you up in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you'll be around because that's the plan. And I am getting hungry. So I appreciate everybody tuning in today. I hope that was at least informative. I think my main issue with the Platner stuff is it just highlights the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, who have claimed to be the progressives have claimed to be, you know, the party of women, of the people, blah, blah, blah. But it is so clear, and it should be clear to anyone paying attention, that they are not. And they're liars and hypocrites and will do anything to get that Senate seat, even push forward Graham Fatner. Why does he always look sad? All right, guys. Nice. Excellent. Thank you for coming. I appreciate all of you. And I will catch you on the flip side. Take care, everybody.